This tragic story of this TikTok influencer is absolutely insane. Like nothing you guys have probably ever heard of before. Right here is Sabrina, and she is a TikTok beauty influencer. She started posting videos of her dancing, makeup tutorials in Chile while gaining a rather large audience over on TikTok, until one day she just vanished, stopped uploading, only to reappear in prison while still making TikToks. So what happened? How did we get to this point? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how we got to this point and also the tragic ending of this story right after we do the comment shout out. And today's comment shout out goes to Token of My Extreme. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, make sure to leave a comment down below saying, Ablaze, best video yet. I hit the bell button and I'll pick one of you for a shout out in the next video. So getting back to the tragic story of Sabrina and what exactly it is that happened. So it turns out Sabrina goes by another name in her local area, and that is Narco Queen. And the reason being is because she is the leader of a small drug trafficking gang. I'm sure you guys didn't see that one coming. Now, Sabrina actually doesn't just run this gang by herself, as she is the youngest of 9 siblings. As I saw on this article, and this reads this.
As the youngest of 9 siblings and mother to a 10-year-old boy, Ina, as her friends called her, grew up around. Court documents cited by local media reveal her early involvement in the business as a young teenager. The Duran case shows how trafficking has spread to new areas, affecting a specific segment of society over the past decade. Sociologist Rodrigo Ganter, author of a book on Chile's transnational narco culture, says that now have a major influence on the preferences, aesthetics, role models, and aspirations of specific social groups.
And while being a part of this gang, as you guys can imagine, especially in Chile as well, they have territory beefs with other people in the area. It's so bad, in fact, that there's actual video footage of these shootings going on TikTok and YouTube. Now, the locals obviously don't phone the police for this type of stuff because Narco Queen and her brothers would obviously keep them quiet. But with that being said, at some point in Chile, it seems like the police set up an anonymous website in which you can report crimes without putting any details in, and that is exactly how Narco Queen here got caught. Now, so many people seem to have tipped the police that Chile actually has a special dedicated force meant for this, called the PDI. The PDI, Chile's Operational and Intelligence Police Unit, in charge of serious crime investigations, staffed with 25 police officers and nearly 20 administrative staff, which tackles the most extreme crimes in Chile, that being stuff related to the cartel. And after being tipped off by so many people and having so much evidence, they went in and actually arrested Narco Queen. Like TikTok dances at 2 p.m., then gotta go for a drive-by at 8 p.m. That's a crazy life to live. That would be like Jojo Siwa just pulling up gang signs while doing drive-bys. I didn't expect this one, and I'm sure you guys are also just as shocked as I am. That's insane. Now, it's so bad, in fact, and it's got so much coverage over in Chile that when Narco Queen was getting arrested, they even have footage of her trying to leave her apartment through a window.
No escapaba de sus fans, sino de aquellos que sabían que irían tras ella a su departamento.
Climbing out and jumping down trying to evade the PDI, which again is wild. I mean, I have to kind of give it to her. I suppose this is like the most badass TikToker that's ever signed up to the website. What? With her brothers also following shortly behind. But that doesn't really matter because they all ended up getting arrested, as you guys can see from this footage right here of them being arrested and taken in. Now, Narco Queen gets sentenced to around about 3 years into this prison. Now, I don't really understand the whole prison system in Chile, and I don't know if anyone does. If you do, please let me know in the comments down below. But my girl carries on with the whole TikTok grind, apparently making TikTok dances and other stuff as well while being in prison in Chile. Now, I did see this online talking about the fact on how she is able to post her TikToks while being in a prison in Chile. And this is what this article had to say for that.
How was the influencer able to upload so many videos from the Women's Penitentiary Center in San Miguel? The proliferation of phones inside prisons has long been a problem for Chile. Prison guards have seized nearly 20,000 mobile phones this year from an inmate population of 49,000. When cases like Ina's arise, the guards quickly move in and seize the phone. However, when a gang leader is involved, they take pains to conceal the identity of the phone's owner and blame someone lower in the prison hierarchy. And overcrowded cells housing 15 to 20 inmates make it difficult to find the phones, much less prove ownership.
Now, every time this story I find can't get any crazier, it somehow does. So let's have a little recap. She was posting for over a year, gained a rather large following, went completely quiet for 3 months because it turns out she is part of a small cartel gang, and now is reposting but in prison. Damn, that's a lot to take in, but like I said, it gets a hell of a lot more crazy. Now, while being in prison, where she actually meets another person in her cell, her cellmate, who goes by the name of Antonella, who also ends up being a leader of a cartel gang. Like, what? Does everyone in Chile just have their own gang? This is nuts. I guess this is like the modern day of Romeo and Juliet, but just Juliet and Juliet, and they're just 2 leaders of a narcos gang. This is wild. Now, it would appear while both of them are in jail, they end up falling in love, as Sabrina seems to have taken lots of pictures of them 2 together, getting rather intimate. Now, after a few months later, Narco Queen is actually let out of prison for good behavior, in which she goes home and, like you guys can probably guess, carries on making TikToks, doing unboxings, dancing videos, and beauty videos once more. Now, remember, while she's still making all of these TikToks, her girlfriend Antonella is obviously still in prison doing time as well, as she is waiting for her to leave and finish her sentence to her to come back to Sabrina so they can live happily ever after. Unfortunately, this is where the part in the video where it starts to get pretty tragic, because unfortunately that is not what happened. Unfortunately, being a leader of a cartel gang comes with its own consequences, as I'm sure some of you can probably imagine, as this report claims, as Sabrina has been out around about this time for about 6 months, and she goes out one day to go and get her nails done. But unfortunately, as she leaves her place, there were some people waiting from the rival gang, waiting for her to leave her apartment, who followed her and, well, unfortunately gunned her down quite viciously as well. As I saw, this article reads as well in her final TikTok, and this is what this says.
Sabrina Duran Montero's final TikTok video, recorded just before she was fatally shot in broad daylight in Padre Hurtado, southwest of Santiago, Chile, has over 5 million views. The 24-year-old influencer is wearing a Tommy Hilfiger t-shirt and gold jewelry.
No, exquisito. Que te sintieras muy rico. Muy rico. Exquisito. El barzón.
While she showcases hair products in the video. After her murder on October 24th, the video comments filled up with farewells and well wishes for the young woman who went by Joaquina Guzman on TikTok.
I'm so sorry. R.I.P. She was so young. She didn't deserve to die. When I saw this story, I thought it was ages ago. Didn't know she died so recently. R.I.P. beautiful. I'm sorry this happened to you.
An obvious reference to Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the former Sinaloa cartel boss. Duran wasn't just a TikToker. She was also a convicted drug trafficker who spent over a year in jail and was released in May 2023. Duran kept on posting videos behind bars, sharing her urban reggaeton dances and songs as the Narco Queen of Peñaflor, the nickname she earned as the leader of a criminal gang in the Santiago suburb of Peñaflor.
And now, with all that being said, her TikTok account is actually still up, which is quite disturbing in some ways. I find it definitely a bit creepy when you know a content creator has obviously passed away, but all the videos of them is still up online. Now, I just saw this story the other day, and her funeral actually took place about 2 weeks ago, where she has finally been laid to rest.
Ina's funeral will soon be held in Peñaflor and has been labeled a high-risk event by the authorities. A special police unit will be deployed to maintain security at the extravagant narco funeral. Over 1,700 narco funerals have been held over the last 4 years in Chile. The 3-day memorials always happen in the neighborhood where the deceased criminal lived and the cemetery where he or she is buried. In late September, President Gabriel Boric sent a bill to the National Congress that would limit both the time and place of high-risk funerals that disrupt neighborhood life and put its residents at risk. We understand that the drug culture may seem like an easier path, but it often leads to jail and even death. It's disheartening that as a government, we've been slow to respond and provide better opportunities, said Pizarro, who has invested more in sports and cultural programs and facilities than in repaving streets. It's easy to criticize me because a patched pothole is glaringly obvious, but a swimming teacher, a volleyball instructor, a theatrical performance, these things can transform the lives of children and youths, she said resolutely as she leaves the 2023 Pan American Games now underway in Chile. The rugby matches will be played at La Pintana Municipal Stadium.
Now, it might be very strange looking in on this, wondering why so many people turn to being cartels in this, but they actually did write an article explaining why and how it seems that a lot of the younger youth seem to turn towards this type of lifestyle, as this article reads here.
According to Pilar Lizana, a security specialist at Chile's Athenolab Research Center, young people often look up to individuals like Ina, who represent a world of power, quick wealth, stolen luxury cars, and guns. Something is failing in Chile that attracts young people to that kind of life. The rule of law has receded in certain areas, leading to rural terrorism in the south and land seizures in Alto Hospicio. Crime then takes over to fill the void, said Lizana. Chileans often blame foreign criminals, like the Tren de Aragua, but Ina reminds us that we have our own drug bosses, including women. Her prison videos dancing reggaeton wearing flashy jewelry shows the power she held over government institutions.
Just overall, an absolutely wild story from start to finish. I'm sure you guys will probably find this one quite an interesting one. I couldn't believe the fact on just how more crazy it seemed to get later and later on in this report. With that all being said, I hope you guys found this story interesting. If you like these types of videos, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. And well guys, I hope you have a fantastic day and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.